This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right. We're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
Off we go! I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your life?
Well, we've got you covered.
Grab an adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com.
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to today's super Lively Lewis story.
The story you're about to enjoy was inspired by Saraphina. Thank you for your amazing idea. Levi and Ivy only had 1 quarter left as they stood in front of the pick-a-prize claw game at the arcade. They had been trying all day to win the coolest prize they had ever seen. It was a plush character from their favorite television show, Ezra and the Alligator. It was a bright green alligator with shiny plastic teeth, wearing his signature baseball hat and neon orange sunglasses. And no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't seem to get the claw to pick up the little toy. Even their dad got in on the fun, trying to help them figure out where to place the claw and the right time to drop it. Sorry, Levi and Ivy. These games seemed a lot easier when I was a kid, said their dad as he stood by the claw game staring at the smiling alligator inside. No problem, Dad. I think this is our lucky quarter, said Levi, holding up the shiny coin. It better be, said Ivy with a giggle, because it's our last one. On the count of 3, Levi dropped the coin in the slot as Ivy took control of the handle that moved the claw. Levi already tried a few times to grab the alligator, so now it all rested on Ivy as her brother and dad yelled out instructions like, move the claw a little to the left. No, to the little more to the right. Looks good. Stop right there. Wait until the claw stops swinging before you drop it. After a few seconds had passed, the claw stopped moving. Ivy gave a thumbs up, which meant she was ready to drop the claw. When she pressed the big red button to release the claw, everyone held their breath. Come on, we have to get it, whispered Levi and Ivy to themselves. And lucky for them, all their attempts that day and all their quarters seemed to have helped. As the claw slowly approached the big pile of toys in the pick-a-prize claw game, it was headed right for the alligator they wanted. The metal fingers of the claw wrapped around the resting reptile and, to their delight, hoisted it up in the air. Nobody move a muscle, whispered their dad, not wanting any sudden movements to shake the alligator toy loose. Then, as soon as the claw made its way over to the prize chute, it released the alligator, which went tumbling out to the open door in the bottom of the machine and into Ivy's hands. We did it! They all shouted. Great job, Ivy, exclaimed Levi. I couldn't have done it without you and Dad directing me, said Ivy with a huge smile as she held the alligator toy over her head like a trophy after a championship game. I can't wait to show Saraphina when she comes over tomorrow, said Levi and Ivy as she handed the alligator over to him. I know, me too. She's an even bigger Ezra and the Alligator fan than we are, replied Ivy. And I've never seen this plush anywhere before. It's so cool. Levi, Ivy, and their dad and their new alligator friend walked out of the arcade that afternoon with their heads held high. It was a great day. And the next day was set to be a great one too, because their really good friend Saraphina was coming over to play and have dinner. The next day couldn't arrive soon enough. Levi and Ivy were so excited for their special dinner play date with Saraphina because they couldn't wait to surprise her with their new alligator toy. The doorbell rang as Levi and Ivy were getting their playroom ready for Saraphina. She said goodbye to her and raced down the hallway, so excited to see her friends too. They bumped into each other in the hallway, giving hugs and hello. I've been waiting all week for this, cheered Saraphina. It's so great to see you. It's great to see you too, said Levi. We have so many fun things planned, added Ivy. And our mom said we can order pizza for dinner and watch a show while we have our dessert. And I bet I know just what we can watch, teased Levi. The newest episode of Ezra and the Alligator. That would be great, answered Saraphina. But if this was 2 days ago, I wouldn't have been able to sit down and watch that show. Why? I thought it was your favorite, asked Levi. Oh, it is, but 2 days ago I went to the arcade and tried to win an awesome alligator toy from the pick-a-prize claw game, and I just couldn't do it, explained Saraphina. It was so frustrating. I wanted it so bad. Levi and Ivy both looked at each other, so surprised by what Saraphina had just told them. They had planned to show her the alligator they won while they were watching their show, but they changed their plans when they heard her story. "Stay right here," said Levi. "She's going to be so excited," whispered Ivy to her brother as they ran across their playroom and got the alligator toy from inside their toy box. They told Saraphina to close her eyes and on the count of 3 to open them for a big surprise. 1, 2, 3, Ivy and Levi said together. "Surprise!" Then as Saraphina opened her eyes, she found herself face to face with her favorite alligator wearing a baseball hat and neon orange sunglasses. She looked completely shocked. As she stood there speechless, Levi and Ivy explained to her how they had won it the day before at the arcade. She reached out and grabbed the alligator, snuggling it close to her face. "He's even softer than I thought he'd be," giggled Saraphina. She was completely overjoyed to see the alligator and proceeded to carry it around with her for the rest of the playdate. She made it sit next to her while they ate their pizza and even set it up for a spot on the rug when they had their dessert and watched the newest episode of Ezra and the Alligator. Levi and Ivy were happy to let Saraphina have all the time she wanted with their new alligator toy because since it was theirs, they could play with it anytime they wanted to. She was having a great time. "Saraphina, your mom is here to pick you up," called Levi and Ivy's mom from the living room to the kids who had now gone up to Levi and Ivy's treehouse. "I can't believe you have to leave already. We had so much fun today, Saraphina," said Levi. "I can't wait to plan another play date," said Ivy. "We can do it at your house next, and we'll be sure to bring our alligator, of course." "Absolutely," said Saraphina as she started to realize that she would have to leave the alligator toy behind when she left. This did not make her feel good. She had really wanted to win that alligator for herself, and now getting a chance to play with it all afternoon, she really didn't want to leave without it. She had to think of a way to take it with her. Just to borrow it for a bit, then she'd give it back to Levi and Ivy. You may be wondering, why didn't Saraphina just ask to take the alligator home for a bit? It's because she couldn't risk Levi and Ivy saying no. Because after all, they had just won it the day before and loved it too. She had to think fast. She knew she couldn't take the alligator right then because Levi and Ivy would see her as she left the treehouse. So she placed the toy down on a beanbag chair and said goodbye. What was she going to do? As she walked over to meet her mom in the house, Saraphina thought of how she could get back to the treehouse. Then as soon as she said hello to her mom, she got an idea. "Saraphina, put on your coat, sweetie, and say thank you to Levi and Ivy for a fun play date," said her mom. "My coat," thought Saraphina to herself. "That's it. I'll wrap up the alligator toy in my coat, then no one will see him." She grabbed her coat from her mom, and as she was saying goodbye to Levi and Ivy, she slipped her hair elastic off her wrist and put it in her pocket. "Oh no, I left my hair elastic in the treehouse," said Saraphina, looking at her wrist. "It's my favorite one, so can I run back and get it?" "I can get it for you," offered Levi. "Where do you think you left it?" "That's okay," called back Saraphina as she ran out the back door towards the treehouse. "It could have fallen off my wrist anywhere in there. I'll be right back." Once in the treehouse, she scooped up the alligator toy, wrapped it in her jacket. Thankfully, it wasn't too big and fit nicely inside where no one could see it at all. When she got back in the house, her mom asked why she was holding her coat. Saraphina said she was hot from running back and forth to the treehouse. That answer was good enough for everyone, and Saraphina and her mom walked out the door. But so did Levi and Ivy's alligator toy. As Saraphina's mom drove, she asked her daughter all about her playdate. Saraphina, however, seemed distracted and a little nervous. It was sinking in at that point that she shouldn't have taken Levi and Ivy's alligator toy. She unwrapped her coat a bit and took a look at the alligator's big smile and silly baseball hat, and it didn't make her feel good like she thought it would. Once she got home, she ran up to her room. She tossed her coat on the bed and the alligator toy tumbled out. Saraphina tried to convince herself it was okay, that she had always planned to give the toy back to Levi and Ivy, but something felt wrong. She tried to distract herself from the situation by playing with the alligator, but it didn't work. At that moment, her mom walked into her room. "What's that?" she asked Saraphina as she turned around holding the alligator. "It looks just like that alligator from your favorite show, the one you tried to win at the arcade a few days ago." Saraphina rose and couldn't think of an answer until she thought of the truth. "It's not mine," answered Saraphina, sitting on her bed. "It's Levi and Ivy's. They won it at the arcade yesterday, and when I saw it, I just couldn't imagine leaving their house without it. So they let you borrow it? Saraphina's mom asked, sitting next to her on the bed. Not exactly, Saraphina began. Well, not at all, actually. Then she went on to explain how she snuck it out of the house under her coat after fibbing about leaving her hair elastic in the treehouse. I'm really sorry, Mom. I know it was the wrong thing to do and I feel terrible, said Saraphina. It's just, I wanted to win the alligator so badly, and when I saw it at Levi and Ivy's house, I just felt... Jealous? Asked her mom. Yes, said Saraphina as a tear ran down her cheek. Do you think Levi and Ivy will still want to be friends with me? Of course, said Saraphina's mom. I will say I'm disappointed that you chose to take the alligator without asking, but I also know that it's normal to feel jealous sometimes. We just have to work on how you process those feelings so it doesn't happen again. Talking out your feelings with your friends in this case would have been a much better option. Saraphina hugged her mom and apologized again. I'm not the one that needs the apology, said Saraphina's mom as she stood up. Grab your coat and the alligator. We're going back to Levi and Ivy's. You need to tell them the truth right now. You'll feel so much better, and don't worry, they're good friends. They'll understand. Saraphina felt nervous, but knew her mom was right. Her mom then called Levi and Ivy's house and told their mom about the situation. She asked that she not tell Levi and Ivy because Saraphina wanted to come over and talk to them herself. 15 minutes later, Saraphina was knocking on their door. When Levi and Ivy answered it, they couldn't imagine why their friend was back, but they were happy to see her. Hey, Saraphina, what are you doing back here? Asked Levi with a smile. Did you forget another hair elastic? Saraphina shook her head as she held her coat tightly in her arms. Hi, Saraphina, said Ivy. It's great you're back. Maybe you can help us with something while you're here. Do you know where our toy alligator went? The last time we saw it, you had it in the treehouse, and now we can't find it anywhere. It's like as soon as you went home, it disappeared, said Levi. Saraphina knew what she had to do. She just hoped her friends would understand and not be too mad. I know where your alligator is, began Saraphina, taking a deep breath. That's why I'm here. I took it with me when I left without telling you, and I'm really sorry. I hope you can forgive me. Saraphina opened up her coat and showed the alligator to her friends. Levi and Ivy didn't know what to say. Their moms stood off to the side watching their children navigate through the situation, ready to help if they needed to. Wow, Saraphina, so you lied to us about why you went back to the treehouse? Asked Levi, sounding confused. You know you never have to lie to us. That's right. If you wanted to borrow our alligator toy, you could have just asked, said Ivy. Friendship is built on trust, and we always want to make sure we can trust each other. I totally agree, answered Saraphina, handing the alligator back to Levi and Ivy. Before we take the alligator back, I'd be happy to let you borrow him for a bit, said Levi. Me too, added Ivy. Now that we're doing it the right way. Wow, I can't believe it, answered Saraphina. Thank you so much. Saraphina smiled at her friends and they smiled back. Levi and Ivy forgave her and knew moving forward their friendship would be built on trust. And as Saraphina hugged the alligator tight, she had an idea. Do you think you'd like to borrow any of my toys? She asked her friends. Totally, exclaimed Levi and Ivy. Saraphina had some great toys that Levi and Ivy would love to borrow. Great, but since it's late now, you can come over tomorrow and each pick a toy to borrow while I have your alligator, said Saraphina. Is that okay, Mom? I think that sounds like a great idea, answered Saraphina's mom, very proud of how the kids handled the situation. They all learned that night that telling the truth and sharing your feelings before taking something that isn't yours is the way to go. They also learned that trust and sometimes alligators are very important to a friendship.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure will be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening. We can't wait to share another fun Lively Lewis story with you.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.